Hi, my name is Nicholas. Welcome to this week's Hatha practice. For props for today, I suggest having a couple of hard blocks, a soft block, and then maybe a bolster or a plump pillow, something like that. And we'll get started on the back today. So if you want to have your bolster nearby, you're welcome to take that under the knees. And just come to find any comfortable symmetrical shape. If for any reason being on your back doesn't work for you today, then feel free to find a shape either in seated or maybe child's pose, something like that. And take your time to get comfortable. If you're using props, you can use them any way you like. The soft block can make a nice pillow as well if the head needs a little more support. And take the arms wherever feels the most comfortable, maybe on the body or beside it. And give the head a little rock. If you need a little movement for the hips, or if anything else feels a little fidgety and you want some movement before your stillness, then go for it. And as you feel ready to start to settle into your stillness here, maybe closing down the eyes or soft gaze. Let the space around your eyes soften, the space around your mouth. And if you notice anything else that's working here that doesn't need to be, then maybe that can soften now as well. And if as you found stillness, the mind started to race or wander, see if you can bring your attention to that gentle inhale and exhale. And from wherever they are, bring one hand to your heart space and the other hand on top. And together, we'll take a deep inhale through the nose, feel the chest, the belly balloon, and sigh it out. And again, like that, deep, expansive inhale, full exhale. Once more. And then keep those deep breaths going, but you might flutter open the eyes, wiggle the fingers, extend the legs, wiggle the toes, a little movement for the wrists and for the ankles. Maybe a full body stretch. You can reach the arms up overhead, give the shoulders, the hips a wiggle. And when you're ready, you can collect your knees in your chest. If you were using a bolster, you can push that out of the way. Wrap the arms around the knees, maybe lift the forehead to the knees as well. Give yourself a gentle rock side to side. And then from here, bring your hands underneath the pelvis, palms flat to the floor. And you can bring them as close as you need to offer a little more support for the low back. And from here, we'll extend both legs up towards the ceiling. Don't worry if they're not completely straight, that's fine. And then we'll move with the breath here. So the left leg will stay as it is. Take an inhale and lower the right leg any amount towards the floor, maybe halfway, maybe most of the way. As you exhale, lift that right leg back up. And now other side, inhale, lower the left leg any amount. And exhale, bring it back up. And move with your breath. So the whole inhale, you're lowering. And the whole exhale, you're coming back up. And we'll do 3 more each side. Last one for each. And whenever you complete your last round, release the hands, collect the knees back into the chest, and give yourself a squeeze. Awesome. And then we'll keep the left knee in. You can bring the right foot down to the floor. You can either keep the right knee bent or have the leg extended. And now both hands to that knee. Take an inhale. Give yourself a little bit of room for the chest. As you exhale, gently hug the left knee a little towards the left shoulder. And then again, like that, inhale, expand. And hug the knee. Once more. Awesome. Now keep the knee hugged in. You can stay here, half happy baby. Reach that left arm on the inside of the knee to catch hold of the foot, the ankle, the shin. It's still early in practice, so you can stay here, or maybe you're pointing the foot to the ceiling. You could wing that right knee out a little bit if it helps as a counterweight, or the right leg extended. Stillness, or maybe a gentle rock side to side might feel good here. Awesome. We'll gently release that left foot now, bring it down to the floor, and then bring the right knee in, both hands to the right knee. Deep, expansive inhale, find space. And exhale, right knee towards the right shoulder a little bit. And twice more, inhale. And exhale. One more. Awesome. Keep the knee in or find your half happy baby second side, any variation. And it's okay if it needs to look a little different to the first side. Stillness or maybe some gentle movement here. Awesome. And then gently release the right foot as well. Make sure you have enough room overhead here. And then we'll bend the knees, walk the feet so that they're roughly underneath them. And setting up for a flowing bridge here, so find a range of motion that feels good in your body. We'll start off by reaching the arms down and bring them kind of near the feet here. And then press the feet into the floor, press the shoulders into the floor. As you inhale, lift the pelvis up any amount. And then as you exhale, lower the pelvis down, but reach the arms up and overhead. Inhale, lower the arms, lift the hips. And exhale, reverse. And keep going, your breath, your pace. And if for any reason working with just the arms or just the legs would work better for you, then feel free to do that instead. 5 more. Last couple. Last one. Arms can stay down, lower the hips with your exhale. Awesome. Take the feet a little wider, rest the knees in together. Pause here for a moment, maybe hands on the body, and take a few deep breaths. When you feel ready to move again, we'll keep the feet nice and wide, but lower the knees down towards the right-hand side. If you need to add any props to support the shape, then go for it. Maybe something under that right knee. And if everything feels good and you want to take the right ankle over the left knee, then go for it. Arms wherever feels comfortable. Take a few deep breaths here. Breathe into whatever you're feeling, stretching on that left-hand side. If the right foot is lifted, bring it to the floor. Inhale, breath, lift the knees to center. You can reset. As you exhale, lower the knees down towards the left. This side might feel different, so again, feel free to rearrange yourself any way you need. If everything feels secure, you want to take that left ankle over the right knee, then go for it. All right, left foot back to the floor, feet wide, lift the knees, and give yourself a gentle windshield wiper side to side. Awesome. And from here, we'll flip over onto the belly. And take the hands just off the mat, maybe side to side. Palms can be flat or fingertips down. And with an inhale breath, lift the heart space up. And with your exhale, soften down. And twice more. Inhale and exhale. Last one. Awesome. Bring the hands under the shoulders and then press up to a tabletop position. Hands roughly under the shoulders, knees roughly underneath the hips. And then from here, we'll send the right leg out behind. You can work with just the leg or reach the left arm forward. Take a deep inhale. As you exhale, knee, elbow towards the chest. Inhale, lengthen, and round in. With your breath, your whole inhale to stretch, your whole exhale to round. We'll do 4 more. Once you complete the last one, take a last inhale and stretch, and then lower hand and knee to the floor. If you need a little pause here, go for it, and then we'll set up for the second side. So left leg back, maybe right arm forward. And take your deep inhale and round in. Stretch and round. And 5 more with your breath. Last couple. Last one. And stretch once you finish. And hands and knees to the floor. Awesome. From here, we'll come and find a kneeling shape. So if this doesn't work for you, feel free to swing the legs around, find easy pose instead, or maybe sit up off one of your props. Reach the right arm towards the front, shoulder can be soft, and then take the left hand, gently guide the fingertips like you're reaching them towards that forearm, and find a stretch for the outside of the right wrist. And take a few deep breaths here. Awesome. And then we'll switch it so you can release and then flip the palm to face away from you, and then same action with that left hand. And release. Give that right hand a little shake out, and we'll do the same with the left. So fingers down, back of the hand forward, and then pull those left fingers in a little bit. Awesome. Release, and then flip the palm towards the front. Same action with the right hand. And release this side as well. Give both the hands a good shake out. And then from here, we'll swing the legs around. Find a seat for a moment with the legs extended. Give the knees a little tap, swish of the feet side to side. And then we'll set up for boat pose, so you can bring the feet flat to the floor. And scoop the flesh of the bum out of the way. Make sure you have space behind you because we'll roll back here as well. So for boat pose, you can keep the feet down, you can come to tippy toes, you can alternate lifting, or maybe you're lifting both legs up. The hands can stay for support, you can float them. Take a moment to notice, find that length from the tailbone to the crown of the head, and chin can stay tucked. And breathe that space into the chest and into the shoulders here. And soften anything you don't need. Awesome. From here, we're going to roll down to the back. So if you want to come from boat, maybe you're taking the hands to the knees. You can bend the knees in towards the chest and then just gently round your way down. And then rock and roll on the back. Now we'll do this a few times and then eventually we'll build up some momentum and we're going to see if we can land up in chair pose. So if that sounds like something you don't want to be doing, then that's fine too. You can swing the legs around, you can come up maybe through a forward fold and come up to chair pose, or any other way you like. Otherwise, if you're coming with me, then you might just take some experimental pauses near the top. See what that feels like, see if you can land on the feet, and then lift the bum up off the floor, and maybe that's enough, and that can be plenty as well. Otherwise, maybe a little more momentum, you'll be able to lift yourself up and then just land in chair pose. So if you need to reset the feet, take them a little wider apart. And again, just like boat pose, find that length, tailbone to crown, maybe hands to prayer. If you've lost your breath with all that rocking, then see if you can slow it back down. Stay here for a few deep breaths. All right. Stay here for a deep inhale. Maybe sink a little deeper. Exhale. Once more. And then your final inhale and hinge forward, forward fold. It might feel nice to rock the legs side to side a little bit. Maybe give the torso a little sway. Find whatever movement feels good here. And if you'd rather have a block under each hand, if that's better for the low back, then go for that. Awesome. And from your forward fold, take a halfway lift, lengthen, and then step the right foot to the back of the mat, lower the right knee down to the floor. And setting up a low lunge shape, so if you want to add some padding for the back knee, then go for it. And when you're ready, you can lift yourself up. And check in here, maybe left foot to the left a little bit if that helps with balance. As you're ready, you reach the arms up towards the ceiling. And notice here, if there's pressure in the low back or if it feels like you're in a deep back bend, maybe find a little more hug pubic bone towards the belly button to support the spine. Eyes can be open or closed. And then we'll cactus the arms. Take a deep inhale, lengthen. And then elbows by the ribs. Inhale, reach up. And exhale down. And keep going. Last 4. Last 1. Awesome. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, hands to the floor. We'll step to downward facing dog. So you step the left foot back. Take a moment to set yourself up. You can play around with your shape. Find the distances between hands, between feet that feel the most stable and steady here. Maybe a little movement to help you settle in. And when you're ready, you can find your stillness. And the hands, the feet gently pressing the floor away. And find that length from the shoulders to the ears. Let the head be heavy. Awesome. You can stay in your downward facing dog, or with an inhale breath, come forward to plank. And then we'll lower all the way down to the belly. 1 round of cobra. Inhale breath, lift the heart space up. And exhale, soften. And tabletop with your inhale. And back to downward facing dog as you exhale. Now inhale, lift that right leg up behind you. And as you exhale, step the right foot just outside the right hand and lower the left knee to the floor. Lizard lunge, check in here if you need some support, maybe something underneath that back knee. And if you have your props nearby, you could either bring your hard blocks or your bolster near the top of the mat. And then think about folding in here, so maybe lowering down to the elbows, one or both. Maybe the floor is close enough, you want to bring them down there. And even here, check in if there's anything that can adjust. Sometimes changing the angle of that right foot a little bit can make a big difference for the knee and for the hip. So if something feels a little pinchy or uncomfortable, see how you can move things around to make it feel better. Notice if there's anything that's working here that doesn't have to be. We're here for a few more deep breaths. All right. If you're down on the elbows, come up onto the hands, and then any props that you need for the floor to be a little closer. So you can keep using your bolster if you have hard blocks nearby, find those instead. And then we'll flow here. So inhale breath, lift the heart space, lift the gaze. Exhale breath, send the hips back and extend the right leg towards straight. And then inhale forward to your lizard lunge, open the front body, and exhale back, lengthen the back body. A few more like this. And the next time your hips come back, we'll take a pause. And staying here for a few deep breaths. You could add a bend to that right knee. You could pulse up and down a little bit. Otherwise, breathe into whatever you're feeling here. All right, with your next inhale breath, come back towards the front. We'll heel toe that right foot to center. Lift the back knee up, deep inhale. And exhale, step forward to a forward fold. Maybe something needs a little shake out here, maybe that right leg, so go for it. And when you're ready, come and find your stillness. It might feel nice to take hands to opposite elbows, making the torso a little heavier here. Maybe add a nod, yes, no, with the head to release the neck as well. And if you have a bind, you can let that go. With an inhale breath, come to a halfway lift shape and fold in as you exhale. And again, inhale and exhale. Last one. Now we'll ride that inhale, come all the way up to stand. You can circle the arms up towards the ceiling, and if you feel a little lightheaded, feel free to keep the arms lifted. Whenever you feel ready to, release the arms, come and find your mountain shape, whatever feels the most steady in your body. Maybe close down the eyes, soften whatever you don't need, and take a pause here. And from your mountain pose, only when you feel ready to, wiggle the fingers and the toes. Maybe give the head a gentle rock side to side. When you're ready, bring the hands to prayer at the heart. To take an inhale breath, lengthen the spine. As you exhale, bend the knees, sink into your chair pose. Option to stay exactly here. If you need to adjust anything, go for it. Or we'll flow the arms, so inhale breath, reach them up. As you exhale, take both the arms over to the left for a twist. And then inhale center and to the other side. We'll do 2 more each with your breath. Last one. And then inhale center. Hinge forward, forward fold. Lengthen the spine with an inhale. And step the left foot to the back of the mat and lower the left knee down. Finding your lunge here, you can pad the back knee. As you're ready, come on up. And again, if you need to adjust something for the hips with the front foot, anything like that, go for it. And reach the arms up towards the ceiling. And pause here for a moment, soften just the shoulders, the shrug muscles. Inhale breath, reach up. And then make fist, cactus the arms. Inhale to reach. And exhale to cactus. Keep going. last one. Inhale breath, reach up. And hands to the floor, step to downward facing dog. And take a moment to find your down dog. Really plug the fingertips into the floor, help to stabilize and support the wrists. Notice if the shoulders are drooping towards the ears, see if you can find a little more room there. And again, the option is there to stay in your down dog, or with an inhale breath, shift forward to plank. And with an exhale, lower down. And cobra pose, inhale. And soften, exhale. And then to your tabletop, and back to your downward facing dog. This time we'll inhale the left leg up behind. As you exhale, step the left foot just outside the left hand, and lower the right knee down. And again, you can take as much time as you need here to set yourself up. Find what feels better for this side. And then the option to fold, so maybe your bolster or your hard blocks, maybe lowering one or both elbows down. Awesome. If you're on the elbows, slowly come up onto the hands, and then using whichever props you need, bring the hands roughly underneath the shoulders. Inhale breath, lengthen the front body, open the heart space. Exhale breath, hips back, left leg extends. And then flow these shapes with your breath, inhaling forward and exhaling back. We'll take one last round, and the next time you find yourself with the hips back, the left leg extended, we'll pause. So see what you need from this stretch. If it feels too intense, you're always welcome to back out. If you like a little more, think about dipping the chest a little further down, and breathe into whatever you're feeling here. All right. As you're ready, come back into your lizard lunge. We'll heel toe the left foot to center. And then hands down, back knee up, inhale. And step forward to your forward fold. And for this last visit in your forward fold, see what version you want. Option to take either the hands to the lower back and hug the elbows together, or maybe to interlace the hands. Fists can stay down or reach up towards the ceiling. So any expression that you like, if you want to add the shoulder stretch, then great. Otherwise, be wherever you need to be. If you have the hands up overhead, release them down and take your inhale halfway lit. Sigh. And again, inhale and let it go. Last one. Now inhale halfway lit and plant your palms and step to downward facing dog. Inhale your left leg up behind you and then pause here for a moment. Square the hips. Left toes can point down or you can point them behind you. And take a deep inhale. And left knee towards the chest as you exhale, round in. Inhale, send it back. And knee towards the chest. And two more. Inhale. And exhale. Last one. Inhale. And exhale. Now inhale, send the leg back. Exhale, step the left foot about halfway up the mat. We'll spin all 10 toes over towards the left and come onto the outside blade of that right foot. Right hand presses down, and with an inhale, lift the hips. Left arm reaches towards the ceiling or towards the front of the room for your side plank variation. You can always move where that left foot is if something else would feel more comfortable. And take a few deep breaths here. Keep that right hand actively pressing into the floor. Last 2 deep breaths. Awesome. And now very gently and mindful of the right shoulder, we'll lower that right hip down to the floor. And then straight away, you might need to move that left foot down a little bit. We'll lower down onto the right elbow as well. If the wrist needs a little shake out, go for it. Awesome. And now from this shape, we're going to work with that bottom leg a little bit. So take a moment to make sure that that right shoulder feels secure. So right elbow roughly underneath it, left foot somewhere so that it's comfortable to press the left foot down to the floor as well. And then left hand wherever you need it, maybe for balance in front of you or behind you. So right foot can be flexed like you're trying to press it to the wall away. And then inhale breath, lift the left foot up any amount, or right foot rather. Exhale, lower. And then inhale. And exhale. See if you can move slow. The next time you inhale and lift, we'll pause and stay here for the exhale. Maybe you can even lift a little higher. Stay, exhale. One last inhale. And exhale, lower it down. So from here, we'll swing around, so come on up, and you can keep the left ankle crossed over the right knee. Now sitting here, we're going to take a fold, so I suggest maybe sitting up off of your soft block. And because we have the ankle crossed over, a couple things to check in with. So one is that you can support that left knee with the block. If having the left ankle over the right knee doesn't work, if it's pressing that right leg towards straight, then the option to bring your other block somewhere underneath the right leg, just to keep it from kind of bending the wrong way. So however you're setting this up, kind of like a figure 4 shape with the legs. Oh, and I forgot to say, if taking the foot to the inside of the leg feels better, then go for it. And then from here, take an inhale breath, lengthen the spine. And as you exhale, start to hinge your way forward, and the hands can come along for support. And check in here, make sure that the left knee, hip, ankle are all comfortable. Sometimes flexing the foot can help create a little more support there. If there's any pinching in the low back, know that you don't have to fold too far forward. You could stay partway up. You can stay with a flat spine. If it feels okay to round the upper back, then go for it. And breathe into your shape. With an inhale breath, slowly start to lift yourself back up. And if you have a prop underneath the right leg, you can remove it. And now we'll take the right foot down just to the outside, or the left foot down just to the outside of the right foot. Well, setting for a twist, so left hand might come behind you. You can hook the right elbow to the left knee any way you like. And take an inhale breath to lengthen here. As you exhale, twist yourself over to the left any amount. If you like to take the gaze over the left shoulder, then go for it. If the floor is a little far away behind you, then feel free to bring a prop in for support. All right, with an inhale breath, come back to center, and then we'll take a counter twist over to the opposite side. And then from counter twist, we'll transition back to downward facing dog. So you can press the hands and the feet down, and then walk yourself around until you're in your down dog. Take about 8 breaths here, so you're welcome to stay in dog. You can drop the knees for child's pose. If flow is part of your practice and you want to take some flows, then go for it. Be wherever you need to be for the next 8 or so breaths. And think about your transition back to down dog when you feel ready. And from your down dog, when you're ready, we'll reach the right leg up behind. Take a moment, square the hips, foot flexed or pointed. And deep inhale, right knee towards the chest as you exhale. Inhale, send it back. And same again. 3 more. Last one. Inhale, send the leg back. Exhale, step the right foot halfway up the mat. We'll spin all 10 toes towards the right. Left hand presses down. Hips are high. Right arm reaches high, either towards the ceiling or towards the front. And keep the left hand secure. Keep the hips nice and high. Take a few deep breaths. Right hand can come down for support. Slowly, mindful of the left shoulder, let that left hip lower down as well. And then from here, you can lower onto the left elbow. You are welcome to take the right foot further back down the mat. And then from here, see if you can keep that right hip stacked on top of the left. Working with the left leg now, you can flex the foot. Inhale, breath, lift any amount. And exhale, lower with your breath. Awesome. The next time the leg lifts, pause and take a few deep breaths here. Awesome. Lower the left leg down and then round your way up to a seat. You can keep the ankles crossed. Maybe find something to sit up off of. And then check in to see what this side feels like. block for the right knee perhaps, maybe something underneath the left thigh. And if a block is too thick here, you could also use like a round up blanket or something like that. And check in here. Lengthen the spine, hands along for support, and take your deep inhale. And as you exhale, walk your hands forward to round over that leg. And finding your expression of the shape. If you're not quite ready to fold, then you can pulse. And you're always welcome to back out, especially if there's pinching going on anywhere in the body. And find your breath here. All right, supported by the hands, slowly make your way back up. If you're using any hard blocks in your shape, you can move them out of the way and step that right foot down to the floor. Right hand behind you, left elbow around the knee, and take your deep inhale and twist towards the right, maybe gaze over that right shoulder. And keep the spine tall, but the shoulders soft. Breathe into your twist. Inhale breath, coming back to center, and take your counter twist to the other side. And then preparing for the transition to down dog, bring the hands down, press the feet down, and then lift the hips and walk yourself back to the shape. The same options, you can stay in down dog, you can flow, or maybe this time you want to drop the knees to the floor and find child's pose. So be wherever you need to be for the next 8 or so breaths, stillness or movement. If you're in down dog, you can drop the knees to the floor. If you're in child's pose, you can start to walk the feet in or the hands in. Come and find a kneeling position. And if kneeling feels good for you for today, then great. Again, you could find an easy pose instead. And take a moment to settle the hips, whatever's touching the floor. Take a moment to lengthen the spine. And then soften anything you don't need here. So from here, I'm going to talk through the next shape. And I'm going to offer a couple alternatives as well. So we've done quite a bit to prepare both with the core and with the shoulders. So I'm going to set up for a shoulder stand. Now, if you know that you have maybe something in the spine that you're working with, or just that's a shape that you don't want to explore today, then that's fine. So two alternatives, and you're welcome to take each for half, or you can just do one as well. So one option is the two-legged forward fold, and I'll show an example of that. So you're welcome to come into that one and maybe stay for about a minute, minute and a half. And then the second shape will be a legs up pose. So trying to get kind of the two effects from shoulder stand, but in two different shapes. So for the legs up pose, waterfall pose, so you're welcome to use the bolster. And again, I'll show an example of this. So maybe you want to choose each of those shapes for about a minute, minute and a half, and then we'll join you after that. If you're coming with me for shoulder stand, one thing that's kind of important is that while you're in that shape, that the neck stays neutral the whole time, so not turning the head. So if you're not familiar with this shape, I would suggest maybe staying out, watching me get into it, and then you can get yourself into it as well. As far as props, there isn't really anything that you'll need nearby. I would just say make sure you have clear space around you, or if you want to have a wall to one side, just in case you want to touch a foot to it or something, you're welcome to do that. Yeah, so when you're ready, the way I like to come into it is I'll come down onto the back, and then just take a moment to like set yourself here. And then I take the knees into the chest, and we're going to come into a shape that's almost like a kneeling shape, except imagine that you were kneeling on the ceiling. So we need to get the hips up above the chest somehow. So I'm going to do that by rocking a little bit. So like we were rocking earlier, imagine that kind of a rock, but in this one, the back stays on the floor the whole time, so it's rocking with just the legs. So you can press the hands or the elbows to the floor, and once you lift the bum up sufficiently, the hands can come to the low back, and then from here you might even walk them a little bit closer, maybe a little further up the back as well. Now straight away, if this is putting pressure on the neck, then you can back out straight away. We don't want to feel pressure on the neck, but you should feel pressure like the shoulders are keeping you up. And then from here, think about slowly extending the legs up towards the ceiling. And again, don't worry if they get fully extended. Try to be aware of where the legs are relative to the rest of your body. So sometimes what happens is the legs start to point kind of far overhead, and then that brings more pressure to the upper spine and into the neck. So see if you can keep the feet roughly on top of the hips. Sometimes it can be hard to know exactly where they are as well. And if you like to close down the eyes here, go for it and find your breath. If you're happy in shoulder stand, you're welcome to stay for maybe about 8 breaths longer. When the time comes to come out, we'll come out the way we came in. So you can start by bending the knees first, finding yourself in that upside down kind of kneeling shape. Once the knees are roughly over the forehead, you can start to walk the hands kind of down towards the bum, slowly rounding the spine down towards the floor. And then when you come out, we'll pause. You can extend the legs long down the mat. Maybe take the hands somewhere on the body and take a few deep breaths here. And if you had chosen one of the alternative shapes, either forward fold or legs up pose, again, you can stay there as long as you need to. When you're ready, you can come and meet us on the back. Now check in with your body here. We will set up for Shavasana next. So if you're happy to just go straight in, then that's great. I will offer one other version of Shavasana, and that's a restorative fish pose, so using your bolster. And that might be a nice counter shape for some of the shoulder stuff that we've done. However, like I said, if you are happy and you're comfortable right where you are and you want to just drift straight in, then go for it. If you want to join me, then just make your way up. You can either rock up or come down to the side first and then make your way up from there. And then we'll set the props up here so you can take the bolster lengthwise down the mat. And then it might feel nice to have the hard blocks on either side of the mat in case you want to do butterfly legs for this. So you can come and sit yourself down just in front of the bolster. If you're using a pillow or something or a sham that's like really puffy, then it might help to sit up off of your soft block just in front. It'll make it a little less severe for the low back. But when you're ready, you can come to lie the spine down on your prop and then see what feels good with the legs. Does it feel good to keep them extended, or would you like to bring the soles of the feet together, maybe take the knees wide like butterfly, and your props are here to support the hips. So whatever shape you're choosing for your Shavasana, just take your time to set it up. Add in any support that you need. If you need to adjust layers or lighting or music, anything like that, then go for it. And take your time to quiet the body down and quiet down the breath. And settle yourself in. And gently bring your attention back to the space. And deepen your breath to reawaken the body. If your knees are open in butterfly, then you can use the support of the hands to bring the knees back in. And then if you're on a bolster out, just rolling off to one side, just to move your prop out of the way so that you can come back to lying flat on the back. And then wherever you are, we'll extend the legs long down the mat, and you can extend the arms long up the mat. Scoot the hips to the left a little bit, and then take your feet a little further over to the right, maybe the arms a little further over to the right, until you're in a crescent moon shape with the body. Left ankle can cross over right, maybe left wrist over right as well. And let the left side be heavy, and take a few deep breaths. Breathe into that stretch through the whole left side. Uncrossing wrists and ankles, walking everything back to center, hips to midline, then over to the right, and feet and arms and towards the left. Maybe crossing right over left this time. Keep that right side heavy. A few deep breaths. And gently releasing wrist and ankle. And walk everything back to midline. And then collect the knees into the chest and separate the knees, reach between to catch hold of feet, ankles, or shins, and we'll find happy baby here. So maybe feet pointing towards the ceiling, choose stillness or a rock side to side. And as you're ready, collect the legs, the knees back in the chest. Choose either to roll down to one side or maybe a gentle rock and roll up the spine. And pausing anywhere along the way as you need. And eventually we'll meet in a comfortable seated position, so choose whatever works best for you. Use any of the props you have around. And settle the hips and whatever's touching the floor. Lengthen the spine. Soften the shoulders. And take a scan from the feet to the head and just notice. The hands can stay where they've landed or collect them in front of the heart. Maybe bow the chin in towards the chest. Thank you for sharing your breath and your practice today. Namaste. and thank you for joining me for your Hatha practice today. If you have any questions, my name is Nicholas, so please reach out and have a great week.